Watch. In the previous segment, the son calls his father and says, "I am a mile from town, but my car is in a ditch." The father arrives to pick him up, but the place is empty. The father honks. He shouts. No answer. And here's what's strange. The tracks lead directly to the bridge, then vanish. The search dogs refuse to cross further, as if this spot is not just a river, but a boundary, a dividing line between what can be explained and what cannot. He described landmarks, but they do not exist. He walked toward the town, but the town is in the other direction. GPS malfunctions, the dogs lose the trail, the water remains silent, as if the route itself was real, but the destination was not. So the question remains, if he really did cross that bridge, what awaited on the other side? On May 16, 2008, the second day after Brandon Swanson's disappearance, the search operation was significantly expanded. By morning, specialized search and rescue teams from 4 neighboring counties joined the effort. Search coordination was overseen by Lieutenant Jeffrey Clark from the Lincoln County Sheriff's Office, who had 15 years of experience leading search operations. A unified command system was established to coordinate all search resources. The operation included 27 law enforcement officers, 45 local volunteers, 8 search and rescue dogs with handlers, 2 helicopters, and a team of divers. The search area was divided into a grid of squares, each measuring 1 mile by 1 mile. Every team was assigned a specific sector for systematic examination. The operation headquarters was set up in the Marshall Fire Department building, complete with maps, communications, and coordination equipment. The Swanson family was actively involved in planning, providing detailed information about Brandon's habits, preferences, and physical capabilities. The search dogs arrived on site at 8:30 a.m. On May 16th, led by seasoned handler Robert Miller from the Minnesota Search and Rescue Dog Association. The operation included 8 dogs of various breeds, 4 German Shepherds, 2 Labrador Retrievers, 1 Bloodhound, and 1 Belgian Malinois. All dogs were certified for search and rescue operations. The initial search effort began at Brandon's car on County Road 123. Search dogs were given scent samples taken from Brandon's clothing at his home. All 8 dogs independently detected a trail leading east from the car along the road. The trail was strong and clear for the first 2 miles. The dogs showed typical tracking behavior, heads down, focused movement, occasional pauses to reorient. Handlers noted the dogs worked with high confidence, indicating a fresh and distinct scent trail. About 2.5 miles from the vehicle, the search dogs reached the bridge over the Yellow Medicine River. At this location, their behavior dramatically changed. Approaching the bridge, all dogs slowed down and began to show signs of unease. Some started whining, others refused to get closer. Rex the Bloodhound, renowned for his tracking skill, stopped 10 yards from the bridge and began pacing in circles, unable to find the trail's direction. Sarah, a Labrador Retriever with 7 years of search and rescue experience, reached the base of the bridge, then abruptly recoiled as if she encountered an invisible barrier. Handler Miller described the dog's reactions as a complete loss of the trail. The dogs could not detect the scent on the bridge, beyond it, or nearby. Attempts to encourage the dogs to cross the bridge and continue searching were unsuccessful. They either refused to cross or showed extreme anxiety when forced. The bridge over the Yellow Medicine River on County Road 122 is a simple concrete structure, 42 feet long, 24 feet wide, built in 1972. It sits about 12 feet above the water. In May 2008, the river's depth under the bridge was 4 to 5 feet due to spring flooding. Current speed was estimated at 2 to 3 miles per hour. The water was muddy from spring rains and snowmelt, with underwater visibility less than 1 foot. The riverbanks were densely vegetated, willows, poplars, and thickets of shrubs. Access to the water was challenging due to steep slopes and thick growth. The river's width near the bridge was about 30 feet. Water flow was generally calm, with no visible whirlpools or hazardous spots. An engineering inspection found no structural issues or dangers that could explain the dog's unusual behavior. Based on the dog's reactions, it was decided to conduct underwater searches in the Yellow Medicine River. The dive team from Leon County arrived at the site at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Underwater searches were conducted using professional diving equipment. 4 certified divers examined the riverbed within a radius of 200 yards from the bridge. Visibility underwater was extremely limited due to murkiness. Divers relied on tactile search methods, systematically sweeping the riverbed with their hands. The search was complicated by the presence of snags, rocks, and other debris on the riverbed. The current was strong enough to make maneuvering difficult for the divers. Over 4 hours of underwater searching, the divers examined a section of the river 400 yards long and 100 yards wide. No traces of Brandon or his personal belongings were found. Additional searches were carried out downstream up to 2 miles from the bridge. The dive team used metal detectors to search for a mobile phone or other metal objects. A sonar scanner was used to scan deeper parts of the river. The equipment detected several large objects on the riverbed, but all were natural obstacles or old debris. The searches continued for 3 days with additional equipment and specialists, but yielded no results. On May 17th, 2 helicopters joined the search operation. One was from the Minnesota Department of Public Safety, and the other was a private helicopter provided by local businessmen. Aerial searches covered an area within a 15-mile radius from where the car was found. Flights were conducted at varying altitudes to optimize visibility. The helicopters were equipped with thermal imaging cameras capable of detecting heat sources the size of a human body. The equipment was effective for locating living people during daylight hours. Systematic surveys included all roads, fields, wooded strips, farm buildings, and bodies of water in the search zone. Special attention was given to areas with dense vegetation. Over 2 days of aerial search, more than 700 miles of territory were surveyed. The crews recorded several suspicious objects, but none were linked to Brandon. The thermal imaging equipment detected no heat sources matching a human body, indicating Brandon was not in the aerial search zone. Volunteer search groups conducted systematic ground searches. By May 21st, more than 200 volunteers from the local community participated in the searches. Search teams were organized into groups of 8 to 10 people led by experienced coordinators. Each team was assigned a specific sector for thorough examination. The search method involved walking parallel lines spaced 5 yards apart between team members, ensuring complete coverage of the assigned area. Searchers examined ditches, thickets, abandoned buildings, wells, silage pits, and other places where a person might be located. Particular attention was given to finding Brandon's personal items, his mobile phone, wallet, car keys, and clothing. Coordination between groups was maintained through radio communication. Each team reported search results every 2 hours. By May 20th, the search area had been expanded to a 20-mile radius from the location where the car was found. The expansion was based on the possibility that Brandon could have traveled farther than initially assumed. Additional resources were requested from neighboring states. Teams from Iowa and South Dakota joined the search operation with their own equipment and personnel. The Minnesota National Guard provided extra helicopters and specialized search equipment, including night vision devices. The Federal Bureau of Investigation was notified of the case and offered technical assistance in analyzing phone records and other electronic evidence. The expanded area covered parts of 4 counties: Lincoln, Lyon, Murray, and Pipestone. Coordination between jurisdictions required extra effort. Searches were conducted around the clock using spotlights and other equipment for night operations. The search operation employed the most advanced technology available in 2008. GPS coordinates of all surveyed areas were meticulously recorded to prevent duplication of efforts and ensure full coverage. Ground-penetrating radar was used to search underground in locations where human remains might be hidden. The equipment could detect anomalies up to 3 meters deep. Highly sensitive metal detectors were used to search for Brandon's mobile phone, keys, and other metal items. Infrared cameras were utilized for night searches and to scan dense vegetation where visual detection was difficult. Computer modeling helped analyze possible routes Brandon might have taken and identify priority search zones. By June 14th, 1 month after the disappearance, official searches were temporarily suspended due to exhaustion of realistic search areas. Over the course of the month, more than 1,000 square miles were searched, involving over 500 people and technical equipment worth more than $200,000. No traces of Brandon, his personal belongings, or signs of what happened after his disappearance from the Yellow Medicine River Bridge were found. The only concrete results included confirmation of Brandon's route from the car to the bridge and establishment of a total loss of scent near the bridge. Search dogs from different teams and states displayed the same behavior at the bridge, an inability to find the trail's continuation and signs of distress. The official stance was that Brandon likely fell into the river and drowned, but his body was carried away by the current or concealed by underwater obstacles. A subsequent expert analysis of the search operation revealed both strengths and weaknesses in how it was conducted. Positive aspects included the quick mobilization of resources after finding the car, effective coordination among agencies, and use of modern technology and methods. Problem areas included the loss of critical 12 hours due to the initial underestimation of the situation. Limited understanding of the search dog's behavior at the bridge was another issue. The unusual behavior of the dogs became the subject of a special study. Expert handlers failed to provide a convincing explanation for the unanimous refusal of the dogs to continue tracking across the bridge. Theories included strong river odors masking the human scent, ultrasonic or infrasonic frequencies affecting the dogs, or the presence of chemicals repelling animals. None of these theories were supported by scientific data, and the dog's behavior remains an unexplained element of the case. The intensive search operation deeply affected the Swanson family and the local community. Brian and Annette Swanson devoted all their time to coordinating the search and working with volunteers. The local community showed remarkable solidarity, providing food, transportation, lodging, and other support for the search teams. Businesses in Marshall donated tens of thousands of dollars to fund the search operation. Many employers granted paid leave for employees participating in the search. The emotional toll on the family was immense. The alternating hope and despair with each false alarm or unconfirmed sighting created constant stress. The uncertainty of the search results left the family in agonizing suspense. The absence of definitive answers about Brandon's fate marked the beginning of a 16-year struggle for truth. The community of Marshall was traumatized by the disappearance of one of its young residents, leading to changes in attitudes toward safety and emergency response protocols. The official investigative theory was based on the testimony of the search dogs, which lost Brandon Swanson's trail at the Yellow Medicine River Bridge. Law enforcement officials considered falling into the water as the most likely explanation for the disappearance. According to this theory, Brandon might have slipped or stumbled while crossing the bridge in the dark. The bridge stood 12 feet above the water, enough to cause serious injuries in a fall. The water temperature in the Yellow Medicine River in May 2008 was approximately 10 degrees Celsius. At this temperature, hypothermia can develop within 15 to 30 minutes in water. Spring flooding created a stronger current than usual. The flow speed reached 3 miles per hour, which could have quickly carried a body a significant distance downstream. The river's depth beneath the bridge was 4 to 5 feet, deep enough to cause drowning, especially if a person sustained injuries from the fall or was in shock from the cold water. The water's murkiness, caused by spring rains and snowmelt, reduced underwater visibility to nearly zero, making it difficult to locate a body even with thorough searches. A detailed analysis of the theory that Brandon fell into the river revealed several significant issues, casting doubt on this explanation. The bridge's design included 1-meter railings on both sides. For an adult roughly 1 meter 75 centimeters tall to fall off the bridge, he would have had to climb over or be forcibly pushed. The absence of damage to the bridge railings contradicted the idea of an accidental fall. Engineering inspections found no broken parts, scratches, or other marks of impact. Weather conditions the night Brandon disappeared were favorable, with no rain, ice, or strong wind likely to cause an accident. Brandon showed normal coordination during the phone call. He did not complain of fatigue, dizziness, or other issues that might lead to a fall. The recording of the phone conversation contained no splash or other sounds typical of a fall into water, further challenging this theory. Thorough underwater searches over the course of a month found no body, clothing, or personal items belonging to Brandon. Unusual for a relatively small river. An alternative theory considered the possibility of a wild animal attack while Brandon was walking along the rural road. The region was home to black bears, coyotes, bobcats, and other predators that could potentially threaten a lone person at night. In 2008, the black bear population in southwestern Minnesota was estimated at several thousand. Spring is a period of increased bear activity as they emerge from hibernation. Coyotes travel in packs and can display aggression toward humans, especially during breeding season. There have been documented cases of coyote attacks on people in rural areas of the Midwest. Large dogs, either feral or owned by local farmers, could also pose a danger to a pedestrian at night. An animal attack could explain Brandon's sudden exclamation and the immediate loss of communication without prior signs of danger. Wildlife biologists and animal behavior experts identified serious flaws in the predator attack theory. Black bear attacks on humans are extremely rare in Minnesota. Over the previous 20 years, fewer than 5 cases of bear aggression toward people were recorded. Black bears typically avoid human contact and only attack when protecting their young or if startled suddenly. A lone bear would be unlikely to attack a person without provocation. Coyotes rarely attack adult humans. Most recorded coyote aggression incidents involved children or small domestic animals. The behavior of the search dogs did not indicate the presence of large predators in the disappearance area. The dogs showed no signs of distress related to predator scents. The absence of blood, torn clothing, or other signs of a struggle around the bridge and nearby areas contradicted the animal attack theory. The crime scene investigation found no evidence of claw marks, bite marks, or other signs typically left by large predators. Investigators considered the possibility that Brandon was a victim of a crime, kidnapping, robbery, or murder. The analysis of criminal activity in Lincoln County revealed a low rate of violent crimes. In the previous 5 years, no homicides or kidnappings had been reported. The chance of encountering criminals on a deserted road at 3:30 a.m. was considered unlikely but not completely ruled out. Robbery as a motive seemed doubtful because Brandon was not carrying large amounts of cash or valuables that might attract thieves. Sexual crimes were also considered, although statistically, men are less often victims compared to women. Deliberate murder appeared unlikely due to Brandon having no known enemies, debts, or other factors that might provide a motive. Detectives conducted a thorough investigation of the criminal angle, including analysis of known offenders in the region and checking the alibis of suspicious individuals. Law enforcement databases were searched for persons with violent crime records living within a certain radius of the disappearance site. 17 individuals with relevant convictions were identified. All were checked for alibis during Brandon's disappearance. None were eliminated from suspicion. Phone record analysis of all suspects revealed no unusual activity on the night Brandon vanished. Vehicle checks for the suspects found no traces of blood, DNA, or other evidence linking them to the disappearance. The absence of witnesses seeing strangers in the area on the night of the disappearance weakened the criminal theory. Psychologists and social workers considered the possibility that Brandon intentionally vanished to start a new life or escape certain problems. Analysis of Brandon's psychological state leading up to the disappearance found no signs of depression, anxiety, or other disorders that might motivate running away. Academic records showed satisfactory performance without signs of excessive stress or study problems. The family's financial situation was stable, and Brandon had no debts or financial troubles that might cause him to hide. Relations with family and friends were described as normal, without serious conflicts or issues. The lack of any preparation for disappearance also contradicted the voluntary disappearance theory. Brandon did not withdraw money or prepare for a long absence. Several factors made the voluntary disappearance theory extremely unlikely. Brandon left behind his car, documents, money, and all personal belongings, unusual for someone planning to disappear. The circumstances of disappearing in the middle of a phone call with his father were inconsistent with the behavior of a person planning to vanish. In the 16 years since his disappearance, there has been no verified sighting of Brandon or use of his documents. The absence of any attempts to contact family for such a long time did not fit Brandon's character as a caring son. Modern financial transaction tracking systems have recorded no use of Brandon's Social Security number or other identifiers. Psychological experts estimated the likelihood of voluntary disappearance at less than 5% based on available data. Medical experts considered the possibility of a sudden health deterioration leading to loss of consciousness or death. Young people can suffer from undiagnosed heart conditions that manifest only under physical stress. An epileptic seizure could cause sudden unconsciousness and falls, although Brandon had no history of seizures. Strokes or brain aneurysms are theoretically possible even in young people, especially with congenital anomalies. Alcohol intoxication combined with physical fatigue and stress could lead to collapse. Hypothermia from prolonged cold exposure could cause disorientation and loss of consciousness. Brandon's medical records showed no chronic illnesses or risk factors for sudden medical emergencies. Regular medical examinations for school sports revealed no heart abnormalities or other health issues. Family history did not include cases of sudden death among young people or hereditary heart diseases. Brandon's behavior during the phone call did not indicate any medical problems. His speech was clear and his thinking was logical. The absence of a body made it difficult to confirm the medical theory through autopsy. Even in the case of sudden medical death, the body would likely have been found by search teams within the relatively limited search area. After the unsuccessful conclusion of the large-scale search operation, the Swanson family decided to focus their efforts on changing laws and procedures for missing persons investigations. Brian and Annette Swanson realized that critical errors in the initial law enforcement response may have influenced the outcome of the case. An analysis of the events showed that the 24-hour waiting rule before starting a search for adults was a major problem. In Brandon's case, this rule resulted in the loss of 12 critical hours. The Swanson family began a campaign to change Minnesota's missing persons search legislation. They studied similar laws in other states and identified best practices. Brian Swanson reached out to state legislators, law enforcement agencies, and advocacy groups for families of missing persons. The campaign was named the Brandon Law in honor of their missing son. Its main goal was to reduce waiting times and improve coordination of search operations. The family organized public speeches, community meetings, and a media campaign to raise awareness and support legislative changes. The Brandon Law Bill included several key provisions aimed at improving the effectiveness of missing persons searches in Minnesota. The primary change was lowering the age threshold for immediate search initiation from 21 years to 18. This meant that all adults aged 18 to 21 would receive the same priority as minors. The law required an immediate start to search operations when unusual circumstances were present, including interrupted phone calls, abandoned vehicles, or other signs of possible danger. It mandated the use of all available technologies to determine the last known location of the missing person, including cell phone data, GPS, and other electronic traces. The law established standards for coordination between different law enforcement agencies and clear protocols for multi-jurisdictional search operations. Improvements were proposed in training law enforcement personnel in search methods and the use of modern technologies. The Brandon Law Bill was introduced to the Minnesota legislature in February 2009 by Representative Doug Magnus and Senator Dennis Frederickson. The bill received bipartisan support due to the clear need to improve missing persons search procedures. Representatives from both parties acknowledged the importance of the proposed changes. Public safety committees from both chambers held hearings with the Swanson family, law enforcement officials, and search and rescue experts. Brian and Annette Swanson personally spoke to lawmakers, sharing their son's disappearance story and difficulties with the initial official response. Law enforcement representatives initially expressed concerns about added costs and resource burdens, but ultimately supported the bill. The law was unanimously passed by both houses of the legislature in May 2009. Minnesota Governor Tim Pawlenty signed the Brandon Law on May 14, 2009, exactly 1 year after Brandon Swanson vanished. The signing ceremony took place in the presence of the Swanson family. The law went into effect on August 1, 2009, giving law enforcement agencies time to prepare for the new requirements. The Minnesota Department of Public Safety developed detailed guidelines and protocols for the law's implementation. Additional funds were allocated for training law enforcement officers and acquiring necessary equipment. A system was established to monitor the law's effectiveness, requiring annual reports on its application. The Brandon Law received widespread national media coverage as a model of progressive missing persons legislation. Its adoption led to significant changes in missing person search procedures throughout Minnesota. Response times for missing persons aged 18 to 21 were reduced from an average of 12 hours to 2 hours. The number of successful searches in this age group increased by 37% in the first year after the law took effect. Coordination among various law enforcement agencies improved thanks to standardized communication protocols and joint operations. Mandatory use of technology to determine the location of missing persons resulted in faster discoveries in many cases. Law enforcement training and search methods became standardized and improved statewide. The success of the Brandon Law in Minnesota attracted the attention of lawmakers in other states who began considering similar legislative changes. By 2015, 11 states had passed laws modeled on the Brandon Law or including its key provisions. The National Sheriff's Association and the International Association of Chiefs of Police recommended adopting similar legislation nationwide. Federal agencies, including the FBI, updated their guidelines to support local law enforcement in accordance with the principles of the Brandon Law. Academic research on the law's effectiveness demonstrated statistically significant improvements in missing persons search outcomes in states with similar legislation. International law enforcement organizations have studied the Brandon Law as a model for enhancing search procedures in other countries. The Swanson family expanded their efforts beyond legislative changes by creating educational programs focused on safety and disappearance prevention. They established the Brandon Swanson Foundation, a nonprofit organization providing educational resources to families and communities. The foundation developed training programs for youth on survival skills, safe behavior, and the importance of maintaining communication with family. Workshops were organized for law enforcement on applying the Brandon Law and best practices in missing person searches. Online resources were created offering guidance on what to do when a loved one disappears and how families can assist search efforts. The foundation supports research in search and rescue technology by granting funds for the development of new methods and equipment. The Swanson family became active advocates for other families facing disappearances. They offer counseling, emotional support, and practical advice. Brian and Annette Swanson speak at missing persons family conferences, sharing their experience in advocating for systemic change. They have helped over 50 families navigate law enforcement systems and organize search efforts. The Swansons collaborate with national organizations like the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children to improve family resources. They participate in developing crisis intervention protocols for families experiencing disappearances of loved ones. Support groups for Minnesota families of missing persons, led by the Swanson family, meet regularly. The Brandon Law and related initiatives have created a lasting legacy that continues to save lives and assist families nationwide. Statistics show that in the 15 years since the law's passage, more than 300 lives have been saved due to faster responses to disappearances. Improved search procedures cut the average search time by 40% for the 18 to 21 age group. The law has become a model for other types of safety legislation, demonstrating how personal tragedy can lead to positive change. Brandon Swanson's name has become synonymous with the improvement of missing persons search procedures within the law enforcement community. Every year on May 14th, Minnesota observes Missing Persons Awareness Day in Brandon's memory, and to remind everyone of the importance of rapid response. The adoption of the Brandon Law stimulated the development and implementation of new technologies for locating missing persons. Automatic alert systems for disappearances were integrated with cellular networks to spread information faster. Mobile applications were developed that allowed citizens to immediately report suspicious activity or potential sightings of missing people. GPS technologies became standardized for use in search operations, including the creation of centralized location databases. Communication systems between different law enforcement agencies were improved for more effective search coordination. Protocols for using social media and crowdsourcing were introduced to mobilize the public in search efforts. Since 2010, the Swanson family and law enforcement agencies have had access to significantly more advanced search technologies that were unavailable at the time of Brandon's disappearance. Google Earth satellite technology provided detailed images of the entire region with resolution capable of distinguishing objects as small as 1 meter. Volunteers worldwide analyze satellite images in search of anomalies. Next-generation ground-penetrating radar equipment became more portable and accurate, able to detect underground anomalies up to 5 meters deep with a precision of 30 centimeters. Drones equipped with high-resolution cameras and thermal imagers allowed surveying of hard-to-reach areas such as swamps and dense thickets previously difficult for ground teams to access. LiDAR technology, or laser scanning, was used to create detailed three-dimensional maps of terrain, revealing even minor changes in the landscape. Advanced metal detectors capable of differentiating metal types were employed to search for Brandon's mobile phone, keys, and other personal belongings. In 2011, a new expedition to the bridge over the Yellow Medicine River was organized using modern equipment and forensic methods. Ground-penetrating radar scanning of the area around the bridge revealed several underground anomalies requiring further investigation. Most anomalies proved to be natural geological formations. Soil analysis, using mass spectrometry, searched for chemical traces of organic material decomposition. Results showed no abnormal concentrations of substances associated with human remains. LiDAR scanning of the bridge and surrounding area produced a detailed three-dimensional model with centimeter-level accuracy. The model revealed no hidden structures or unusual features. Underwater searches were repeated using modern high-resolution sonar equipment. The new equipment could detect objects as small as 10 centimeters at depths of up to 10 meters. Computer modeling of river currents and hydrodynamics showed possible paths for objects falling into the water near the bridge. In 2014, new specialized search dogs were brought in, including dogs trained to locate human remains at various stages of decomposition. A team of 6 dogs specializing in bone recovery was brought from California. These dogs were trained to detect even partial skeletal remains up to 15 years old. Cadaver dogs trained to find decomposed tissues searched the entire area within a 3-mile radius of the bridge. Searches were conducted under different weather conditions to optimize olfactory performance. The results from the modern search dogs completely matched those of the initial 2008 searchers. Dogs tracked the scent from the car to the bridge but lost the trail at the same location. The new dogs also displayed strange behavior at the bridge: anxiety, refusal to cross, and loss of focus. Handlers were unable to explain this repeated behavior across different dogs. Attempts to use dogs trained to locate electronic devices, such as Brandon's mobile phone, also failed to yield results in the bridge area and surrounding locations. In 2016, the Swanson family gained access to advanced audio analysis technology to study the last minutes of Brandon's phone call with his father. Digital processing of the audio recording using forensic software revealed previously inaudible background sounds in the final seconds of the call. Spectral analysis showed low-frequency sounds that could have been engine noise or mechanical equipment at a distance. However, the source of these sounds was not identified. Analysis of Brandon's vocal patterns in the last minutes showed no signs of stress or fear, which typically accompany encounters with threats. The examination found no voices of other people in the background noise, ruling out the presence of others near Brandon at the moment of disappearance. Time analysis showed that exactly 47 seconds passed from Brandon's last exclamation until the phone was disconnected, during which the microphone remained on but recorded no sounds. Despite their skeptical attitude toward paranormal methods, the Swanson family occasionally consulted psychics in hopes of gaining new information about Brandon's whereabouts. Over 15 years, more than 30 different psychics, mediums, and clairvoyants from the United States and other countries were involved in the case. Most sessions yielded no concrete information. Medium Elizabeth King from Sedona, Arizona, conducted several sessions in 2017, claiming to sense Brandon's presence between 2 worlds near a body of water. Psychic James Van Praagh pointed to a specific area 3 miles east of the bridge where he asserted answers about Brandon's fate could be found. Search expeditions were organized at locations indicated by various psychics, but no physical evidence was uncovered. Psychologist Jennifer Anderson, who studies extrasensory perception phenomena, noted that information from mediums often reflects the subconscious fears and hopes of families rather than actual facts. In 2019, a team of computer specialists from the University of Minnesota created a detailed digital reconstruction of the night of Brandon's disappearance. The 3-dimensional model included exact topography, weather conditions, cell phone data, and all known facts about Brandon's movements. Computer modeling revealed 17 possible routes from the crash site to various locations, matching Brandon's descriptions of visible lights. Analysis of timing and distances confirmed the physical possibility that Brandon reached the Yellow Medicine River Bridge at the indicated time, walking at an average pace. Acoustic modeling showed that the sound of water under the bridge could be heard up to 100 meters away, consistent with Brandon's descriptions. Virtual reality technology was used to recreate the conditions of that night, allowing researchers to experience Brandon's final hours and, potentially, uncover overlooked details. Over the years, the investigation faced multiple false alarms and deliberate hoaxes that diverted resources from genuine searches. In 2012, a hunter found a wallet containing documents in Brandon Swanson's name in the woods. Forensic examination showed it was a forgery created to attract attention or claim a reward. In 2015, an anonymous tip reported human bones discovered in an abandoned barn. DNA analysis revealed the remains belonged to an animal. Several times, people claimed to have seen Brandon alive in various states. All such reports were investigated and disproved. In 2021, a photograph allegedly showing Brandon at a shopping mall circulated on social media. Analysis showed it was an edited image of a different person. The Swanson family learned to verify all information carefully, but each false alarm caused a new wave of pain and disappointment. Law enforcement agencies emphasized the importance of reporting genuine findings through official channels rather than social media or anonymous tips. With 15 years of accumulated data, investigators have proposed several new theories to explain Brandon's disappearance. The short-term amnesia theory suggests Brandon might have experienced a temporary memory loss due to stress, alcohol, or medical factors, causing disorientation and wandering in an unknown direction. The sensory overload hypothesis considers the possibility that Brandon suffered hallucinations or perception distortions from fatigue, stress, and alcohol. The unknown third-party theory proposes someone might have helped Brandon leave the disappearance site, but that person has never come forward for unknown reasons. Modern criminal theory explores the possibility of a brief abduction followed by murder, with the body carefully concealed in an area not covered by searches. The medical theory of sudden death from an undiagnosed condition remains under consideration, especially given the possibility that wild animals might have hidden the body. The rise of social media has radically changed how Brandon's case is searched and publicized. The Facebook page, Find Brandon Swanson, has over 80,000 followers and is regularly updated with new developments. The Swanson family's YouTube channel contains documentary videos about the case, interviews, and appeals to the public. The channel has amassed more than 2 million views. Crowdsourcing platforms have enabled thousands of volunteers to analyze satellite images and search for landscape anomalies. Reddit communities of unsolved case enthusiasts regularly discuss new theories and analyze available information about Brandon. TikTok videos about Brandon's case have gained over 50 million views, attracting a young audience to the story. Artificial intelligence is used to analyze large volumes of user-generated content in search of potentially important information. As of May 2024, Brandon Swanson's disappearance case remains open in the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension database. 16 years later, the location of the 19-year-old student remains unknown. The case is classified as cold with periodic reviews for new information. Detective Lisa Hansen from the Lincoln County Sheriff's Office has been the lead investigator since 2018. The National Crime Information Center database contains current information on Brandon as a missing person. His data is automatically cross-referenced with new unidentified remains found nationwide. Brandon's DNA profile is stored in the FBI's Combined DNA Index System for comparison with unidentified human remains. No matches have been found in 16 years. His fingerprint records are also stored for automatic comparison with unidentified individuals. Periodic case reviews are conducted quarterly. The current reward for information leading to the discovery of Brandon or the circumstances of his disappearance stands at $50,000. Over 16 years of investigation, the following undisputed facts about Brandon Swanson's case have been established. Brandon left the party in Canby around midnight on May 14, 2008, heading home to Marshall. His Honda Civic went off the road into a ditch on County Road 122, 8 miles northeast of Marshall. The exact time of the accident is unknown. The first call to his father was made at 1:54 a.m. on May 15th. The phone conversation lasted 47 minutes. Brandon left the car and walked east along the road, maintaining phone contact with his father. Search dogs tracked his path from the car to the bridge over the Yellow Medicine River, a distance of about 2 miles. At 3:30 a.m., the conversation was abruptly interrupted by Brandon's exclamation, after which the connection was lost forever. Extensive searches involving hundreds of people and modern technology found no trace of Brandon or his personal belongings. Despite intensive investigation, key questions remain unanswered. The cause of the car leaving the road is unknown. There is no evidence of mechanical failure, collision with an animal, or other explanations for the accident. Brandon's exact location during the phone call remains a mystery. His descriptions did not match the real geography of the area. The nature of the lights Brandon saw has not been determined. The source of these lights was never identified despite thorough investigation. The reason for the sudden end of the phone call is unknown. What happened at 3:30 a.m. remains the central mystery of the case. The whereabouts of Brandon's body or personal belongings are unknown. Extensive searches yielded no physical evidence. There is no explanation for the strange behavior of the search dogs at the Yellow Medicine River Bridge. Brian and Annette Swanson, now aged 65 and 63 respectively, continue the active search for their son. Despite 16 years passing, they organize annual search expeditions on May 14th, the anniversary of Brandon's disappearance. These events regularly involve between 50 and 100 volunteers. The family maintains an active social media campaign, regularly posting updates and calls for information. Their efforts reach an international audience. They continue to work with various experts, including criminologists, geologists, hydrologists, and search and rescue specialists. Financially, the family has spent over $300,000 of their own funds on the search over 16 years, including hiring private detectives and specialized equipment. Annette Swanson has become a national advocate for families of missing persons, speaking at conferences and assisting others in similar situations. Brandon Swanson's case has had a long-term impact on missing persons search procedures not only in Minnesota, but across the country. The Brandon Law has been adopted in 11 states and influenced federal missing persons search guidelines. Training for law enforcement officers now includes studying Brandon's case as an example of the importance of rapid response to disappearances. Technological advances in search and rescue have been partly driven by needs identified during Brandon's search. Protocols for using search dogs have been improved based on the strange behaviors observed in this case. Coordination systems among various law enforcement agencies have been standardized, incorporating lessons learned from Brandon's case. Brandon Swanson's case has been the subject of multiple scientific studies across different fields. Criminologists examine the case as an example of a complex disappearance with no obvious cause or motive. Psychologists analyze behavioral aspects of the last phone call and decision-making under stress. Search and rescue professionals use the case to develop new rural search methods. Animal behavior experts study the unusual reactions of search dogs to understand factors affecting their work. Technology researchers are developing new tracking and communication systems to prevent similar disappearances. Hydrologists research object movement in rivers to improve underwater search operations. Contemporary researchers propose several theories to explain Brandon's disappearance. The perfect storm theory suggests that a combination of multiple factors, alcohol, fatigue, stress, and disorientation led to a series of unfortunate decisions with a fatal outcome. The hidden location hypothesis considers the possibility that Brandon fell into a natural pit, well, or other depression that search teams did not detect. The rapid concealment theory posits that the body was quickly hidden by natural processes such as flooding, landslides, or animal activity. The criminal theory of a chance encounter explores the possibility that Brandon met a criminal at the wrong time and place. The medical theory of sudden collapse proposes an acute medical condition that led to rapid death and subsequent concealment of the body by natural forces. Emerging technologies may offer new opportunities to resolve Brandon Swanson's case. Next-generation quantum sensors could theoretically detect underground anomalies with unprecedented accuracy. Artificial intelligence continues to advance in analyzing large volumes of data and uncovering hidden patterns. Genetic technologies may soon enable analysis of highly degraded DNA from minimal samples. Ultra-high-resolution satellite technology can detect previously unnoticed anomalies in the landscape. Robotic search systems will be able to survey hard-to-reach areas without risking human lives. Virtual and augmented reality can assist in reconstructing events with greater accuracy. 16 years later, Brandon Swanson's legacy extends far beyond his personal tragedy. The Brandon Law has saved hundreds of lives by improving response procedures for missing young people. His story has raised public awareness about the issue of missing persons and the critical importance of swift action. The Swanson family has become a symbol of resilience and determination in the face of uncertainty. The case continues to inspire the development of new technologies and search methods. Brandon's story is a reminder of the fragility of human life and the importance of caring for one another. The case remains one of modern America's most mysterious unsolved mysteries. Despite 16 years of intensive searching, using the most advanced technologies and the efforts of thousands, essential questions remain unanswered. The story demonstrates both the strength of the human spirit amid profound loss and the limitations of even the most sophisticated search methods. The Swanson family transformed personal tragedy into a force for positive change, saving other lives in the process. The search for Brandon continues. Each new day brings the possibility of a technological breakthrough, new information, or a chance discovery that may finally provide answers to the questions tormenting the family and community for 16 years. Somewhere in rural Minnesota may lie the key to solving this mystery. Until that key is found, Brandon Swanson's memory will continue to inspire the pursuit of truth and justice. Thank you for watching. Please share your thoughts in the comments.